Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am so glad you're joining me today. So, I'm in my studio today working on a few projects. So, I'm going to show you what I'm working on. But real quick, while we're waiting for some people to pop on, let me double check that sound is working as always. So, if you're jumping on here, just comment hi. Let me know who's watching, where you're watching from. I'd love to know. Always. Okay, it works. Phew. Okay. So I'm working on, as you can see behind me on the design wall, a baby clothes quilt, and it's going to be so adorable. I've got lots of different pieces to put in this, so you're going to watch me piece together some of the borders and things today, but I'm also working on the long arm, so we're going to jump back and forth a little bit so we can babysit the long arm while it's doing its thing. So speaking of long arm, we are offering long arming services at a 20% discount for the next week. So next week, October 15th is when this offer expires. So if you have some quilt tops that you would like to get done, this is a great time to get them done. It's going to be done in time for Christmas for one. Two, you're getting it for a great discount. Plus, if you need backing fabric or batting, squaring the quilt after it's been long armed, or binding services, all of that is 20% discounted right now for the next week. So we have a few spots left open for that. If you would like to get in on that, just let me know. You can send me a direct message or an email at journeybackquilts@gmail.com, and we'll get you hooked up. The other thing is our membership is officially open right now. So you can go to journeybackquilts.com or click that link in the description box to learn more about what that is. What's happening in there. We're going to be focusing on our UFOs for this next quarter. So I'm also contemplating adding in one more fun detail to that. So I'm opening up some free coaching spots that will happen next week. There'll be about a 15-20 minute call where we can chat about what UFOs you have, how I can help you in finishing them, and all of that kind of stuff. So if you would like one of those free coaching calls, let me know and we'll get you set up next week for a call, and we'll see what you're working on. I would love to see what you're working on. As always, we have a free group on Facebook called Your Quilting Journey Show and Tell page. You can post your projects there. You can post your questions there. Reach out for help. We have over 600 members in this group right now, and they're all lovely and able to help you. And I'm in there often as well. So I would love to meet you and see what you're working on. So without further ado, I think that's all the announcements I have for today. So let me know who's watching. We are now streaming on 3 different platforms at the same time. This is amazing. So we're on our Facebook group. So if you're watching from that group, the Show and Tell group, say hi. If you're watching from our Facebook page, our Journey Back Quilts page, say hi there. And we're also on YouTube. So make sure you comment there as well. And if you haven't already, go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel there. We're trying to grow that page a little bit more so that we can make more fun tutorial videos for you there. So hi, Lisa. Thanks for joining here. Let me know which platform you're watching from. I would love, oh, actually it shows me Facebook. So great. Glad you're here. All right. So I'm going to flip the camera around to the long arm and let's keep going on that. I have it paused right now so I can babysit it because it's almost to the edge, and I like to babysit it when it's on the edge so it doesn't catch any weird fabric and stuff. So let me switch that around and hopefully it works. Okay, great. Awesome. So this t-shirt quilt was made by a client of mine, and I'm helping her with just the long arming services here. And didn't she do a great job? It looks so good. Okay, so I'm going to push continue. Hopefully it works with me here. Sometimes when I push pause, it freezes on me and then I have to reboot everything. So, but it looks like it's trying to. Oop, oop, oop. It's being a stinker. Okay, resume. Move. Okay, let's see what it's doing here. Of course, it has to have a hiccup. It must be shy on camera or something. It doesn't always have these issues. Let's see if it will like it now. All right. Yep. Looks like it's happy now. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now we're back in business. So I am stitching on an Innova Classic 26-inch, and it is an amazing machine. I love it. It's a workhorse. It helps us get a lot of quilts done really fast. So it not only does the edge to edge like you're seeing here, but I can take the belts off and do some free motion quilting with it as well. And it's super light. I love it. So right now we're stitching basketball designs. So we've got the big basketball and then all the little designs within the basketball there. Not sure if the camera picks all of that up or not. And there's a little bit of fullness in this quilt, so I'm going to try to help it out as it's going. Kind of help spread out some of those layers. We try our best to get all the layers all quilted nicely so that there's not a bunch of wrinkles and stuff, but once in a while, depending on the fabric that's used, there's a little bit of wrinkles within the quilt, so we have to kind of help it along. And that's why I recommend using high quality fabric. It definitely helps so that there's not a lot of bunching and pulling of the fibers in the thread of the fabric. Okay, it's done with that row. Are you gonna tie off? There we go. There we go. It claps for me. Yay! Right, I just pulled up my bobbin thread so I can clip it, and now we got to roll the quilt up the bars a little bit so we can do the next row. All right, so just roll it up a little bit, and I have some excess batting here, so I've been trimming that as I go to keep it out of the way of the long arm and all the belts. Okay, clamp this guy on. The other really cool feature I love about this machine, I hope that you're seeing all of this okay, is it has a bar lift for the quilt top so that I can get underneath it and straighten out all the batting. And this client supplied her own batting as well, so I'm working with what she gave me. Okay, now I'm going to try to straighten out all the layers. Okay, now I need to baste the edges here. I'm going to pick up my top or my bobbin thread. Change it to a basting stitch. And I keep scissors, little snippers at every end of my machine. So they're just on a magnet on the bar, and that just helps me be able to grab it quickly and not have to run across the room to get my snippers all the time. Okay, I'm going to try to straighten this one out a little bit. Sometimes with t-shirt quilts, because it's different fabric than the fabric you're using for your borders, it tends to grip the fabric differently when you've sewn it together. So sometimes you get some weird wrinkles and waves within the fabric of the quilt. But I think I'm going to start from the bottom. Sometimes when you start from the bottom and baste it going up, it will help fill in that fullness, but sometimes it's just hard to do, hard to get straight. Okay. All right, now I'm going to change it back to my 11 stitches per inch, and I'm going to line it up with a point on my design. So I try to go somewhere in the middle and then somewhere where it has somewhat of a straight point. And then I can tell the computer, which I'm sorry you can't see that right now, where we're at. So then I'll pinpoint exactly where the machine is at, and that will move the design down so that it does the next row. And then we just push go. And it's got to think about it for a second, and then it will ask us to continue, and it will move the machine all by itself to the right position. Sometimes those clamps get in the way and it just didn't want to stay on. So pick up the bobbin thread, tie it off, and then say continue, and it'll start stitching the design. So even though I basted the edges, I like to babysit it just a little bit so that when the machine runs over it, that edge doesn't flip up over itself, just that little bit. Try to. Sometimes I don't catch it in time and I'm actually out of bobbin thread. Of course. So you get to see everything. At least it was out at the beginning, right? And not at the middle. And I already have one pre-wound. And if this is really curious to you and you'd like to learn more about this, this is something that we could go over in our free coaching call. And we'll have more of these lessons within our academy as well, which is open right now. So if you've been wanting to learn how to do any kind of free motion quilting or long arming, all of that's going to be in our membership. And there's Miss Macy saying hi. All right, let me reboot this guy. It's taken it a minute to think about it because since I pushed stop on it, it was like not happy about that. So it froze on that screen. I need to call in the company and ask them why it's doing that because it shouldn't be doing that. But we'll get it going here. All right, pick up the bobbin thread. I'm going to clip that tail a little bit. Okay. Righty. Now we need to get it hooked back up to the machine. Okay. It's thinking about it. There we go. Pick up the bobbin and then tell it to continue. I like to stitch off of the edge of the quilt just a little bit, just to make sure that we get all of the quilting all the way up to that edge and then a little past, so that when you square it up, you have quilted the entire quilt. Okay, now it should be happy. I'm going to check our tension. It's good. Okay, now let's go back to the other sewing machine and keep piecing this baby clothes quilt together. So let me change the camera view for you. That's fun, huh? Just let it go and do its thing. All right. Let's go to this camera here. I've got a little bit of a mess over here, which is normal for us quilters, right? So let me clear my space a little bit. All right, so I am working on this baby clothes quilt, and the client and I designed it together. So this is what we came up with. So these red spaces are where the whole baby clothes are going to be. We're going to put a red background on them so that they really pop. And then each of these dark blue spaces are the baby clothes themselves. And we put a little border around some of them so that it helps keep things separated and cleaned up so that you can see everything individually. So I've got some of these baby clothes on the wall like you saw before, and then some of them are all cut up and ready to put the borders on. And what I don't have pictured is we're going to put another border around the entire thing with a light blue and a red little sashing border, and then these little cornerstones in between them, or square within a square blocks. So isn't that adorable? So I'm working on putting those together right now with the machine, and then I'm going to move on to putting all the borders around these pieces, and then I can lay it on the design wall and see how it's going to look. So join me over here for just a little bit. I won't keep you too long, so you'll have to come back to this channel and see updated pictures as I get going on it. And yeah, because I won't get the whole thing done today. So here we are at the machine. I'm using my walking foot. And I have an automatic foot raiser with my sewing machine, which is super handy while you're chain piecing all these pieces together. So I'm just putting these little squares in the corner of these baby clothes and sewing them at a diagonal. And I just kind of eyeball it. You can use the seam guide tape or the Seam So Easy guide to help you do these kind of techniques. But with them being so small, I can just eyeball it. And this is how you get that diamond shape. Once you have all of these sewn on here, you trim it and then open it up and you get this cute little diamond shape there. Isn't that fun? And we've got this cute little puppy with a button on there. So I'm hoping that my seam will go around the button okay, but we will see. It should go just fine, but my foot might try to hop up on top of it. So let's see how it will work. Yeah, so I'm going to hold that button down so it gives it a little pressure to go over it. Yay! It went just fine. So let's keep going with these ones. And we're just putting 16 of these blocks around the outside so it stays nice and clean and organized. So you can really see each individual piece without it being too chaotic. Now, of course, it's a memory quilt. It's going to be a little chaotic just because all the different colors of fabrics from the clothing. But we're going to try to simplify it as best as we can. The nice thing is my long arm is right in front of me, so I can keep an eye on it. It's starting to get close to the edge, so we'll probably bounce over there in just a second. Okay, this one makes me a little nervous because there's two metal buttons right here, and I'm hoping my seam is going to go right past them right there. So I've already broken a couple needles on this project. I'm going to go a little slower over that hump. Phew, it did it. Okay, so that is the end of that pile. And I'm going to use my little cutting gizmo, which I have some of these in stock now, but I have the newer one. That's the Blade Saver kind. They're not quite on my website yet, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I believe next week is our live fabric sale, so I'll be showing you those at that time. So they are so handy for doing chain piecing like this, so you're not wasting your thread. And then you can clip them apart faster and easier without having to use your snippers or something else. So, all right, let's go over to the sewing machine or the ironing board. Move these out of my way. And when I do diagonal seams like this, I always like to set my seams when possible. So I'm going to turn my new iron on there. I showed you guys a couple weeks ago. And like I said, if you'd like to get one of these at a 20% discount, you can get that from me. So just let me know what color you want and we'll get it ordered for you. We've got pink and turquoise and purple and yellow of these Aliso irons. I love them. They're heavy duty, and when you touch it, it lowers and then you can let go and it raises up so it doesn't burn your surface. But there's no more tipping it up like this. Unless you want to, then you can turn that function off back there and it'll keep those legs from raising back up. Okay, is it warm yet? All right, we're almost to the other side, so I'm gonna flip you to the long arm again and let's go check that. Ooh, it's looking good. Okay, it's done with that pass. So now we get to roll it up again. Wasn't that fast? So I'm just going to pick up my bobbin thread so I can clip that. Okay. Then we start that process all over again of straightening out the batting, straightening out the top, realigning things up and basting it, and then quilting that next row. This quilt is almost done, which is awesome. She just dropped it off yesterday, so we were able to get it on the long arm quickly and just get it done for her. Right. This is sometimes where it gets challenging. If the quilt is not very square, it's going to have a little bit more fullness in these borders here. And like I said, we try to quilt that out as best as possible so it's flat and straight, but sometimes it's difficult too, depending on how the quilt is laying. So, all right, I'm going to tell it where it is first. All right. Well, I'm not going to keep you since I already showed you how to do all of this, and I'll come back and fix it in just a minute, but let's go ahead and keep going on that baby clothes quilt for a second, because I want to show you how I'm doing these. Okay, now that the iron is all warmed up, I'm going to just set my seams by ironing them flat on all of these little blocks. Then once all those seams are set, then I'm going to trim off the corners at 1/4 inch away from our seam mark. So put my ruler at that 1/4 inch right on my seam, and then I can trim off those corners, and that will get rid of any bulky fabric so that our block will lie flat. So let's do another one. Okay, and then when we press them, those new pieces of fabric make a new corner to our block. So it's still square, but now we have a diamond shape in the middle. Isn't that adorable with the cute little baby clothes? And then I'm going to square these up after I've ironed all of them so that they are square and ready to go in our border. Cute little Nike. So as you can see, these will go like this, and we'll just put them together. Where'd the other one go? Probably under here. There we go. So I'll put 4 of these together on the top and on the bottom and on the sides so that we have this cute little frame of baby clothes framing this baby clothes quilt. So I am going to keep going on these ones, and then probably sometime this week I will tackle all the rest of these blocks with the borders and get those put together and then put them up on the design board so we can see how it's going to turn out. So Let me change the camera view here. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this was fun and entertaining, at least, to see me working in the studio. There's a lot of back and forth going on, from the long arm back to this and back to that and all the things. So that's the life of a solo entrepreneur. So I hope that you guys are having a great day, and check out our membership. If you would like one of those free coaching calls, let me know and we'll get you set up for some time next week. And have a great weekend, guys. See you later.